It took some time for me to really engage with Klaus and to actually see what it was trying to do. I'd say about halfway through, it kind of twigged in my brain the message it was trying to deliver, or at least what I interpreted. And it's very traditional and feels like a really traditional fairy tale. And a film of two halves. The first half was pretty dull. Once it kind of got going, I really enjoyed it. This was released last year in 2019. I watched it on Netflix. And I'll read the description from IMDb because it's pretty accurate and spoiler free. Yes, a simple act of kindness always sparks another, even in a frozen, faraway place. When Smerenberg's new postman Jesper befriends toymaker Klaus, their gifts melt an age-old feud, and deliver a sleigh full of holiday traditions. Klaus obviously is representing Santa Claus, but he's not Santa. I thought before I started watching this that he would be Santa, the actual Santa, but he's not. He's just a man in this village who creates toys. He's just a toy maker. He's not actually Santa Claus. And Jesper goes to this place to set up a new post office because at the moment they're not sending letters, and he begins to inform people about letter writing and writing to receive gifts around Christmas time, and the children start to write to Mr. Klaus. And obviously, as a toy maker, he reads these and kind of takes on the role of Santa. And what this really reminded me of is the traditional story of St. Nick, about how he used to go around in the evening and give gifts to people who were in need. And it kind of, what I loved about this is it took away, how do I say this without spoiling anybody's belief? It took away the almost impossible magical element of Santa Claus and made it real and made him an average everyday person who can do good for people. Granted, giving a toy to a child is not the biggest charitable act, but he is a man, a regular person who makes toys and was able to give joy to these children, and it makes it more realistic and more possible and is very inspiring, and I really enjoyed that. So there were only really two things about this that I wasn't that bothered about. Well, actually, I didn't think the soundtrack was very good. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't very memorable. The two things. I don't like the pacing. As I said, it took about half of the film to actually get anywhere and for me to actually begin to feel like it was a film about this character called Klaus. So the pacing was a bit off. The other thing I don't like is it's very visually very dark. The animation quality is not great. There are a lot of very strong color contrasts and shadows that make it quite hard to see. And there are a lot of very dark colors in this. And it just, as an animation style, it doesn't really work. I mean, it's fine for the most part, but there are scenes and movements and characters where it's just, it feels like I'm squinting to make out what's on the screen, and I don't have bad eyes. So I feel like the colors were a bit off, and the animation style is better as a still image or as an illustration than as a film animation. But it wasn't so bad that it was unwatchable. It doesn't have the biggest Christmas feel to it, but I really like the postal element. I think it's lovely. The voice acting is great. I don't have any real complaints about this at all. I think the pacing is probably the biggest complaint that I have, and then obviously the animation style. It was nominated for the Best Animated Feature Film at the Oscars. It did not win. I will see what film did win this. This was for the most recent Oscars this year. So I should ideally be able to just remember what did win that, but that's like trying to ask me what I did 10 years ago. The animation category is quite far down on IMDb. I don't know what they're going to do at the Oscars next year. Oh, Toy Story 4 won. Yeah, alright, that's fair enough. It won the Best Animated Feature Film at the BAFTAs, which I don't agree with it. I don't think it's the best. I think there are several problems with it, but it seems to be really well received. It's got 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb, which is a phenomenal overall rating. It won 10 awards. It had 22 nominations, or 23 if you include the Oscar. It can be quite sentimental. I think just The pacing needed to be improved and the animation style wasn't perfect. For me, I found it a bit too dark and dingy. But other than that, once it actually got going, Klaus was pretty good.